Welcome to episode 138 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Ashley Barron. We'll get to her in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
Hey man, yeah, what's going on? Nothing too new, crazy here. We were talking a little bit prior to the little one Wyatt is doing great in school, and just recently is starting to tell me how to spell his name, which is really good. And then
Nice.
he corrects me on how I say his name, which is also another really new thing and super fun to deal with. But I'm like,
What does he say it is?
so I say Wyatt, and he goes, "No, Dad, it's Why it." You know, that's what I said.
So the enunciation is just placed at a different part of the word.
Right, right. And so yeah, that's a pretty fun thing that we're dealing with now. And yeah, man. Other than that, we are just doing the thing.
Yeah. This episode with this interview with Ashley, you knocked it out for us. Yeah, can't thank you enough for that. It was quite a sick week on my end. I don't think I've ever been sick more than like 2 days in my life, and this is now day like 8 or 9, and I'm finally able to get through full sentences without coughing up a lung and sounding like I I don't even know if the deepest I've ever sounded in my life. So yeah, no, you crushed this one, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I think we're kind of burying the lead a little bit. Some outside the circle podcast. Oh, what's the word? Alum, I guess. Tonight, as of recording, this is Wednesday, November 20th. The CMA Awards are currently on air, and we just got word from one of the nominees included the Red Clay Strays. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super fun. We always think about when we got into this, like, it'd be great to, meet somebody that, does it. They finally jump that hurdle and they get on to the next, part of the career, and they get the really well known. And and that's happened for a couple of our artists, but like Red Clay Strays have definitely, taken the lead on that, and have, geez, I mean, it's so funny. We have a Peloton here, and now I'm hearing them on like the Peloton app and stuff like that, like for workouts. The biggest podcast ever to be in existence, the Joe Rogan podcast. He talks about them and stuff. And I'm like, that's so crazy. Like we sat here and chatted over a Zoom for an hour and change. It was wild.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, they were in an Airbnb somewhere in Alabama, Arkansas, one of the A states, and they it was quite the quite the sideshow attraction trying to get them all to focus, and somebody was in the back cooking eggs, somebody was down to like, it was probably the most fun, but also the most like, okay, we need to get this back on track. But I mean, I think that just kind of goes to show that like that's their personality, right? That's what they bring to the table, and that's what's working for them. And yeah, I mean, I'm on their mailing list, and every other day I get an email about whatever venue in Australia that they just sold out and they're moving to a bigger venue. So it's phenomenal to see that success. And kind of tonight in the CMA world, couple not so much. So they're definitely the alum side of it. But we always talk about. I mean, this podcast started in the parking lot at Starland Ballroom after the Cody Johnson show, and here he is doing his thing. And I just saw him this past weekend. Holy shit, what a show! And then just kind of getting to know people over the years. We talk about Nate Smith and guys like that we haven't had on, but we've had the privilege of meeting. And yeah, it's wild to think that you know little old us and
Right.
wherever New Jersey that we're currently in is it's wild. But couldn't ask for a better pinch me, this is actually something we've been a part of kind of feeling. So yeah, no, it's been great.
No, it is super cool, and they're great musicians. They're great, talented, super nice guys. So yeah, I mean, we do nothing but hope for more success for them for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of that Cody Johnson show, Braxton Keith, the opener. I don't know how much you know about him, but we need to figure out a way to get him on here. That was a hell of a performance. And back to we go for the openers, and they're the ones that really light it up. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I guess all that to say that here we are, episode 138, and it's cool to see the progress that we've made both in ourselves, but also like the friends and stuff we've made along the way. And I guess with that, next week is Thanksgiving, so we'll won't have anything next week, but then we'll be back in December with some more great interviews.
All right, yeah. So this is going to be really fun. I hope I'm excited for everybody to get into this interview here with Ashley Barron. All right, everyone. We are here today with singer-songwriter Ashley Barron. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Ash. Thanks for joining me today. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're gonna start from the early days, all the way back. Where did you grow up, and how important was music in your household?
Yeah, so I'm originally from a small town in Northern California. I grew up in a really amazing area. Honestly, I was an hour from Tahoe, a couple hours to the beach. It was pretty great. But music was huge in my family. And honestly, it started, I'm the youngest of four siblings, and all of my siblings love music. My brother is a huge Deadhead, Grateful Dead till he dies. My dad was a huge rock and roll guy, and my sisters were kind of all over the place, super into like, the indie rock, kind of, sublime era of California. And yeah, that's just kind of how music really got started in me, and how I fell in love with it was definitely watching them. But I think the baseline for like my whole family was always country music.
Yeah, I feel like I would fit in perfectly with your family. It's like exactly the type of stuff that I mean, I grew up on like real old school country too.
Yeah.
It was really weird when I everybody always heard about Grateful Dead, but I feel
Hmm.
everybody kind of pictured the imagery rather than hearing the music. And
Yeah.
and so, for me it turned me off at first because I was like, I'm not like a tie-dye like Deadhead type of thing kind of guy. And then I
Yeah.
heard it and I was like, this is bluegrass and folk.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it seriously is. And so we have an ongoing thread still with my siblings, and my brother is constantly sending us random stuff. And it's like, I mean, deep dive Grateful Dead, but I'll listen to like a little bit of it and I'm like, oh, wow. I do have a good appreciation for it.
yeah. And then, I found a whole nother appreciation once I'm an audio engineer by trade. So like once I learned about the whole wall of sound thing and I was like, this is cool, like totally geeked out on it. Um,
Yeah.
but no, that's awesome. And you said country music was kind of still the backbone of everything. And, California has a pretty unique country sound. Um,
Yeah.
when was it that you kind of figured out that music was going to be the career, like the focus?
So, I was in choir in junior high, and that continued kind of through high school. And then my mom was really the one that like kind of saw something in me. I was always performing for my sisters. I wanted to like put on shows for them when their friends would come over and like all that stuff. And so in high school, my mom was like, we should really get you like into like serious voice lessons. And we did. And when I was starting to go to college, my vocal coach wanted to get back into recording. He was originally from LA, kind of a big rock guy. And he asked me, he said, hey, would you want to stay in Sacramento and record some music with me? And so I was very lucky and very, very blessed that my parents were totally supportive. They were like, hey, as long as you apply for Sac State and pursue your dreams, do it. So that was kind of my like, oh, this could be something. And then it wasn't until we finished the album and I got a little band together and I started touring up and down California, playing all the little random dive bars that I was like, oh, I like really like this.
No, that's awesome. And so that early, I don't know, band thing, was it just kind of like cover songs and stuff that you were really doing?
Started as cover. I mean, I had this album. So he asked me, he wanted to record, and I was like, I'm not a songwriter. I like, how would we do this? And he still had a lot of connections in the publishing world. So he got a lot of demos sent to us. And that was how we started that process. So I did have this, I think it was I still have like the CD. I want to say it was like 10 songs, something like that. So those were kind of my originals then. So we played those, but it was definitely mainly covers. And I got this one amazing guitar player, Alex Cheney. He's still doing stuff in California. He is freaking phenomenal. And he was the one that really opened me up to like, yeah, we can do these country songs, but we can make them sound the way we want to make them sound. And I was like, oh, like this is what original music could be, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I don't think many people, know, like when you hear a demo, it's pretty stripped down and everything. And, I did that same type of thing where, I'd found a bunch of songs, them being just like, songwriters, nothing that I had written. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then, same type of thing. I was in a band. Actually, that's how Ronnie and I met. And our guitar player was amazing. He's a metal guitar player though, which is a trick when you put that into a country world. But
Yeah.
he could rip on a guitar like a bluegrass player. So
Yeah.
it totally worked. And it was kind of weird, that same kind of aha moment where we like, I know these aren't our songs, but we can make them ours now, that type of thing. And yeah, it was really cool. And it was a great, like, got the mojo working and like got the songwriter in you kind of working and
Yeah.
got everything, I guess on the train to starting to write your own music.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're writing songs now for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't until after that and that whole experience in California, I got really close with our local country radio station, which unfortunately they're not a radio station anymore. It makes me so sad. But they were like, you got to go to Nashville. And I was like, okay, but I don't know anybody. Like, what am I going to do? So they were having an event out here and they were like, just come with us. We want to introduce you to some people. And they did. And that ultimately led to my first record deal label signing. And it was at that point, I still wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to write my own songs. I honestly, that wasn't kind of my thing. And then it wasn't until I officially got here in Nashville and I was like, oh, okay, songwriting's kind of fun. I was getting in the room with some co-writers and they were bringing these things out of me, just like stories that I'd had. And I was like, oh, this is very therapeutic, actually. So it wasn't until I got to Nashville, I really started writing my own music.
Yeah, and once you dove into that songwriting world, and especially in Nashville, I mean, Nashville is just like, it's the song capital of the world, right? And so, getting into the co-writing and all that, kind of break us down through like what your songwriting process is and things.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a co-writer kind of person. I need other people in the room. I've tried to like sit down and write a song by myself, and I mean, I feel like I just don't allow myself the time. Like I need to be that person. Actually, ironically, we just moved and bought a house and I bought a table, like a coffee table book. And they're supposed to just like sit there and be pretty. But I actually picked it up and read it and it's the Willie Nelson's book.
Cool.
And he talks about his early start that he would like sit himself and like lock him in a room. And I was like, maybe I need to do that because I can't. Again, I am very much like once I get with people, I think that's also part of the creative process, right? That's like how, when your juices start to get flowing. But other than that, like I don't really have a specific, like I do ABC, first or whatever that might be. I'm just kind of like, all throughout the day, I'm constantly like writing down notes or taking voice memos. Ironically, it happens when I'm in the car the most. And then I just start from there. I just kind of see what the other writers are vibing with and if they have like a melody or if that fits one of my like hooks or a line or something. And then I kind of just let it happen.
Right. Yeah, no, that's cool. We early on in the podcast, one of the best things that was told to us is that like songwriters, it's not that, like we see things different or whatever. We definitely feel things deeper, but our antennas are higher. Like you just kind of notice things and you pick up on little things, like even just body language of somebody, the way they, how people are talking together and whatever in a cafe sounds so cliche, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you just kind of pick it up, and that's what allows you to step into that room with another songwriter who's in that same kind of genre or feel, and yeah, you guys can start just ripping songs out.
Yeah.
Super cool. And how was the move from California to Nashville? Was it like shell shocking or what?
No, so again, this was just kind of a like, I don't know. I feel like everything, I'm a big spiritual person and I really feel like, God had his hand in the way that my story played out. And I was really lucky that I didn't just like jump and leave. I didn't like, like your first day going to college kind of thing. My story like kind of it was a really slow burn. Like the radio station brought me out here and then I was very fortunate to be able to kind of just go back and forth. I mean, my entire life was in California. I'd never left California before. My whole family was there. It was everything. So I just I went back and forth. And then I kind of found a consistent Airbnb that I'd stay in. And then I found the area. And then we kind of started like on and off renting a place that was like, oh, month to month. And then it wasn't until I originally got my first opportunity to go on tour in 2020. And then that happened. And thankfully, it was with T. Graham Brown. And he was so, so awesome to keep me on tour for the following year. He's like, I'm making this happen and you're still on board. So it wasn't until 2021 that I came back. I was getting things ready. I was doing rehearsals. I was probably here for a month. And then I was going to go back and like pack up. And then I was still just in my mind thinking, oh, back and forth. And it wasn't until I was here for rehearsals and I was like, what am I doing? Like all my bus calls, everything are from here. I just have to be here. And so my dad was like, well, all right, I'm not shipping your stuff, so buy new things and let's just move on. And I was like, okay. So, that was more of a like, I was already so used to the city. I'd already like really, I had friends here. I was starting to really immerse myself. So it was just more, the shell shock was more of my dad literally like I had to go and find a bed last minute, like that kind of thing.
No, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I really like to hear too of those artists. The whole 2020 COVID thing was such like almost an industry breaker when it came to the touring artists and even studio musicians. Man, just everything stopped and that sucked. But it's so cool to hear musicians and or artists that are just like, you know what, let's just hit pause. We're going to continue this, that type of thing. And, that mentality is awesome. And it's always good to hear. So yeah, let's, we've talked a good bit here. Let's throw on a song. You want to intro, one of the songs for us here? We'll play it.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, the debut single. We have, the one thing I loved about this album process was we really started by releasing singles first. And that was a cool experience. It was a cool experience for me. It was fun to see like the fans' feedback. But I was so excited when my team picked Destroy Me to be like the song off the album. It was challenging for me vocally. I'm not a dainty singer. I'm not, the slower ballads are truly a challenge for me. And so it was fun when we got in the studio and started recording this song. Writing this song was one of my favorites because it was the like deepest emotionally I got to a song. And then going into the studio to record it was just so like, okay, it took some time, had to like really get into my feels. And yeah, it's just, I feel like everybody can relate to having that like that one time love that's just so intense that you feel it so, so deeply.
You're a raging river so wild. I wanna lay down and drown by your side. Our hearts beat like thunder till the sun breaks the day. I can weather this storm, so blow me away. You break through my walls, one touch at a time. You burn down the thoughts of those dark and cold nights. Kiss my neck, steal my breath, baby, you put it into the lonely. Boy, you destroy me. Let's watch some candles melt down. I'll kill the lights right now. Put the cork back in the bottle. I'm stoned on your kiss. Can't hold it together. I won't try to resist. You break through my walls, one touch at a time. You burn down the thoughts of those dark and cold nights. Kiss my neck, steal my breath, baby, you put it into the lonely. Boy, you destroy me. You break through my walls, one touch at a time. You'll burn down the thoughts of those dark and cold nights. Kiss my neck, steal my breath, baby, you put an end to the lonely. Destroy me.
All right, so let's talk about "Destroy Me." You kind of dove a little bit into the releasing of it, that waterfall of singles, and but tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind that song.
Yeah, so this song was honestly, I was like in between dating and all that, and it wasn't until I like finally found my fiance that I was just like, oh my gosh, like you destroy me in a really good way. And I wanted to figure out how to write this song of like, you feel these loves again so deeply, but it's not the ones until you can become so vulnerable with yourself and that person that it's like they destroy who you were, and now you're going into this new like more amazing version of yourself with that person too. Is really fun too because this song actually the second verse was the first verse, but I was in the studio and I was like, I think we need to like flip flop things, and they were like, well, okay, let's give it a go. And I do. I once we did it, I was like, oh, it makes more sense now. It's funny how that happens.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll speak of first. I in the same kind of boat. I was in shit relationships for a while, and then when I met my now wife, it was that same type of thing. It's like I completely forgot. I think who is it? Brothers Osborne has a song like that where it's like I don't remember who I was before you type of thing.
Oh yeah, is that the one with Leanne Rimes?
I don't know if she's on it, but yeah, I don't know if she's on it. It's one of their like slower songs, I think, and they're like,
Yeah.
Anyways, the song has that kind of feel for me too, where it's just like, I completely agree with it. Again, it's relatable for, what I hope is for everyone, at one time or another. Um,
Yeah.
but then when I listen to it through my audio engineering ears and production side of it,
But
my
yeah.
I love the guitar tone. The guitar solo and guitar tone is amazing. And then I'm in love with any time that there's a steel guitar in there too. So as a guitar player myself, I'm mainly guitar focused and singing side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for you to say that it was a stretch for you to sing that, I mean, that sounded great. Your voice is perfect on it, so I think it's so good.
Thank you. I know we're finally, so that is probably, no, there's like two songs off the album that we've never done live. And we're getting ready to put on a showcase here in Nashville, and we're going to do that song. And I've never done it live. So I'm nervous and excited at the same time. I think it's just such a challenge. And so today I was in voice lessons and I finally was like, okay, I'm not a dainty singer. I don't need to sing it daintily. I just need to sing it and just don't be so loud. so I'm excited. It was, like I said, it was a fun challenge. But I know my producer would love to hear what you just said, because Aaron Stapler, who produced my album, he is a phenomenal guitar player. He did all the solos, all the guitars, all of them on the record. And he's also my band leader and
Yeah.
performs live with me too. And he's great.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, yeah, mad respect, because that sounded really good. And okay, so Destroy Me is off of the newly released album Checkmate. Tell us a little bit more about that album as a whole, and what people can expect once they get to listening to it.
Yeah. So, like I touched on a little bit, I kind of have a really crazy story. I was previously engaged in the year 2020. And at that same time, my mom fell really sick and ultimately passed away in October of 2020. And then in November, or well, yeah, it was November of 2020, is when I found out that my then fiance cheated on me and got another woman pregnant. So it was a roller coaster of things happening in my life.
Oh, you
And
2020 was bad. Jeez.
yeah. Yeah. So it was crazy. But ironically, that was when I turned to writing the most. And the first song off the album, Betrayed, is I wrote that like while I was finding out like everything that he was doing and what was going on. And so that is really what the story of my album is. It's all the way from that betrayal to Forever Feels, which is finding my forever person, and now getting ready to really get married and really find the right one. And so I try to kind of bring people on that, emotional roller coaster I went through. And then in the middle of the song, I have another ballad called I'll Be Okay. And I wrote that when I was moving here to Nashville. And that was kind of, my saying goodbye to my hometown and starting fresh and new here. And I don't know, I know my story in the little details is crazy and unique. But I also know that so many people go through such in their own way crazy experiences that are so similar, just different minor details. And that was kind of the whole inspiration behind Checkmate.
No, that is awesome. I am such a like a album focused person, and if Ronnie was here, he'd say the same thing. And we love like the concept album, the album of like telling a story through one track to another. I love that, and I want to see that in music more often, rather than the single to death type of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt when my, team came to me and was like, "Hey, we want to do these singles." And I was like, I wrote this as a book, as a like to tell the world. And I was like, I don't know if we should. And then I was like, no, if we kind of go in order, I mean, we didn't go in exact order of the album, but I know why they picked the certain singles they did. And my hope was that, yes, there are still some people out there that want to pick up the whole album, that want to go on that musical journey, emotional journey, because I mean, that's how I was raised with albums and, you didn't, well, I was in the age where we would like illegally download off LimeWire and things like that. But started as, the albums. And then I remember too, like burning my own like mixtapes that like I made specifically into like my own little album,
Right.
I very much like that.
No, we're in the same boat, and and to say and to talk about like your writing style and the writing of the specifics of your life and the details and stuff. Another really great thing that I remember hearing, for songwriters is that we're generally specific. So like general enough of the world where like people can kind of get it, but specific enough that like if it's just a line, if it's just a word or
Yeah.
whatever, it just grabs you. And so yeah, you can be as specific or as you want to in your album, but it's still going to connect with so many people, I think. And it's going to be really fun, and I'm excited to see the growth of this album too.
Yeah, thanks. I know my biggest thing when it comes to my entire career, and even when I'm performing, live on stage, I, I grew up feeling so alone at times, and I've battled many different diseases and autoimmune diseases, and that itself can be very lonely. And I know how that feels, and I don't want people to feel that, and I want people to know that like you aren't never alone. There's always somebody else that is going through something that's so similar. And that's what I hope people take away from this album.
Yeah, and just to kind of feed off of that too, I have a note here that you're official ambassador of the national. I'm gonna mess this up.
I was gonna say Scleroderma Foundation.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Using your platform as an artist, what are some of the ways that you connect and and support the community?
Yeah. It's been amazing. So like I said, I was diagnosed with this disease when I was 6 years old. I was very, very lucky. I have what's called a linear scleroderma, meaning it's on the outside of my body. And scleroderma in itself is the hardening of tissue or organs. So like I said, I was lucky. It affected the outside of my body and became dormant around the age of 13. I didn't see a lot. I don't have a lot of lingering side effects, very minor things. But at the same time, because it was on the outside of my body, kids can be very mean. And, it's just because they don't know. And so that was very isolating at times. And then it wasn't until my mom was diagnosed with scleroderma in 2020, and hers was systemic, meaning the inside of her body, and it attacked her kidneys and ultimately took her life in October. And when my mom was diagnosed, I mean, this disease is not necessarily, there's no proven fact that it can be biological. My sisters have been tested. They don't have it. My brother hasn't been tested, but it's very unlikely in males.
Mhm.
But when she was diagnosed, it was a trip to my whole family. We were like, what are the odds that she has this? And when I started to talk about this and tell my story after she had passed, this National Scleroderma Foundation reached out to me to team up, and I didn't even know they existed.
Mm.
And so getting connected with them was really awesome because it really empowered me to tell my story more on stage. And then I was finding at every single show somebody that either had the disease themselves or knew somebody or was a family member supporting those. And it was crazy. And it was the most like, this sounds bad because it's such a horrible disease, but it was so fulfilling to meet each other and to know that like, hey, I know what you're going through. It was just a really, really cool thing.
Yeah, amazing. And and you talk about like the therapeutic side of singing and recording and stuff like that, and be able to utilize this in that in that same vein of, that these folks aren't alone, and that it doesn't have to be as debilitating as, as you say. And, sometimes, like you said, it is. And I'm very, very sorry to hear about that. But it's again, like that community and that outreach and everything is just, it's so important for, for this, alone, but also for many other things, and for people to realize that, that you don't have to struggle through this life so much. There's a lot of folks here that are here and willing to help, and spread the love.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. And when we talk about the platform and the music and your live shows specifically, you've had you've shared the stage with some big names, I would say, Craig Morgan, Tyler Farr, Maddie and Tay, to name a few. So give us a little live look to what a Ashley Barron show looks like.
Oh. Energetic, just like in your face, rowdy. It's funny. You had mentioned like one of your guitar players was like in a metal band, and I love string up. My guilty pleasure, like one of my favorite bands is Hailstorm. And so I just like, I listen to music all over the board. And then there are days where I'm constantly listening to Nora Jones and Frank Sinatra because I just need to relax and I love it. So I really try hard to bring all of that to my live show. And that's what I love so much about this band that I have. They feel the same thing. We're all into the same kind of music. We love loud guitars, heavy drums, a good bass line. And I just, again, I want people to come to my show and leave their worries, leave their day at the door, and just be able to like have a good time and just let them feel the music and let go of everything else and connect with others.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And yeah, I just heard a Hailstorm. Hailstorm was on the new Brooks and Dunn album.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She did Boot Scoot and Boogie.
What? I did not know that. Oh my God. I've been so behind on new music. Oh my God. I'm freaking out. Yeah. That is like my two worlds, like full on emerging. That is like my childhood meets my like teenage angry years.
Nice. No, it's awesome. It really is really good. And I think it's the reboot 2 that they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
my God. How did I not know that?
So you'll have to check it out because it's really good. And they even talk about how the band themselves is just like they tore that song apart. So it was really good.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh. I can't wait.
And no, that's awesome. And this has been really great. The only thing that I want to touch on, what else coming down the line? Anything you want to touch on before we hang up here?
Yeah, we are so excited. December 4th, we are putting on a showcase here in Nashville at the 8th Room. Doors are at 5 p.m. It's a free show. I've got an amazing opener, Buck Johnson, who's toured with Aerosmith and the Johnny Depp Band. He's a really, really great guy. And we are just so excited to play a lot of this new music.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm really hoping that you guys pack that place and let the listeners know where they can find you, your music, and everything else online.
Yeah, you can find all my music streaming Ashley Barron, and then my socials Ashley Barron Official. I've got a lot of fun new things going on. My fiance is a pilot, so we've got a little thing going on, a fiance of a pilot. So come check it out.
Well, very cool. Ashley, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for jumping on with me tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so that was Brian's interview with Ashley Barron, and yeah. I mean, again, great job knocking it out, and wish I was there for it. She's been on our radar for a couple months now, it feels like, and I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately, the sickness world had other plans for me. But yeah, that was wonderful. Good job knocking that out.
Yeah, that was fun, and you always kind of really enjoy talking California with these artists, Ashley being from NorCal. Yeah, I'm sure you guys would have had a ball talking about it, and her my favorite part. She was talking about like all of her siblings and stuff and the music genres that they all listen to, and I was like right there with it. It was like like Sublime and Grateful Dead and stuff like that. I'm like, this is awesome. um,
Yeah.
but no, it was super cool, man. And yeah, she's a great artist. A ton of energy. Love it. And yeah, I mean, and the stuff that she does with her music outside of just the music, but then the foundation. I'm not even going to try to say the name because I butchered it in the interview, as everyone knows. So
Yeah. No, that's it's really cool when you see artists. Obviously this is something that is near and dear to her. With her family history and whatnot here, but it's really cool when artists use their platform to promote more than just the music and really could make a difference in the world. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know anything about this until starting the prep for the interview. And I have uh not that I've talked openly yet, but the new girlfriend is a nurse, and I asked her about it and she gave me a whole rundown. And it was cool to, you know granted, or how do I really want it was cool that I got to learn about this because Ashley's doing it. Yes, it wasn't part of the foundation or whatever, but just knowing she's a part of that introduced it to me and you for that matter too. So having this platform for these artists is such a cool thing, and I'm so glad that I wish more people took advantage of it and did it. But on top of that, great music, right? A great artist on top of what she's doing. Checkmate, the album just came out not that long ago, and we played Destroy Me, and what a song, and I mean, you guys talked about it in the interview. I don't really have to dive too deep, but such a great song and so relatable to anybody going through something new relationships, all that. So yeah, I really enjoyed listening back to this one, and yeah, just sad I missed it.
yeah, man. No, it was fun. It was real fun, and we definitely missed you. And we definitely want to thank Ashley for coming on Outside the Circle. Be sure you go and follow her on all of her social media, music listening platforms. We leave you today with another track from Ashley Barron, Satisfied.
Up as it comes, but a rambling woman is still looking for some love. Love was a whiskey, I just haven't found my kind. Everyone that goes down sweet is bound to burn in time. 'Cause every once in a while I'm someone's one and only to discover he ain't the one. Child for a lonely, wanna be spoken for when it's all said and done. Lord knows I've tried, but when will I ever seem meant to be, get to be satisfied? Holding one red rose in a taillight town. I thought he had it going on. He was hitting all of the right notes, but he just wasn't my song. 'Cause every once in a while I'm someone's one and only to discover he ain't the one. But I don't wanna be the poster child for when it's all said and done. Lord knows I'll try, but where will only to discover he ain't the one. But I don't wanna be the poster child for lonely. I wanna be spoken for when it's all said and done. Lord knows I have tried, but when will I ever seem meant to be, get to be satisfied? Ever seem meant to be, get to be satisfied?